Welcome back, Unorthodox family.
Welcome back.
Today's topic, the master's pet.
Yes, and so there is a store in New York called Better Man. This store is specifically made for women to find a husband. And there's 5 floors. So the women went in, and you go in the first floor. This woman went in, my friend, and she saw that all the men in the first floor were significantly rich, but they weren't really all that good looking. So she's like, well, dang, if the first floor they're all rich, what's in the second floor? So she went to the second floor. And the second floor, they were rich and handsome, but they weren't real bulky. So she's like, well, let's see what's on the third floor. So on the third floor, they were rich, they were handsome, and they were fit. She goes, well, if this is that good, let's go to the fourth floor. So the fourth floor, they were handsome, they were rich, they were bulky, and they did house cleaning. So she was like, wow, the fifth floor must be the best floor. So she went to the fifth floor. As soon as she opened the fifth floor, the elevator opens and it has a sign and it says, this floor is only women. This floor proves that women are never happy.
They're never satisfied.
They're never satisfied.
Because even though they had it all in the fourth one, they still was trying to see.
I mean, most women would have, make it seem like if they could have just had the first floor, someone that's wealthy and wanted them, then that'd be enough. But if you think about it, that's the society that we live in now. It's not just women, but people in general. The reason why everybody is single is because they're just so afraid that they're missing out on something better, to the point where everybody's just single. And the better never comes. You just get older and older, and then especially when you're young and you think that you're it, and you just play around with your life instead of getting married. Then eventually you become older, and like for us women, like for me, I know that a lot of men my age, um, if they've kept up with themselves at all, um, are looking for women my daughter's age, and it's just it's kind of sad. And I tell my daughter all the time, because she's like, not willing to settle down whatsoever, and I'll tell her, you need to, maybe find a good husband while you're still young and cute. You know what I'm saying? And you just don't get it until you're in your 40s, or or whatever, and you start to realize, like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Here you had all these chances to maybe have had a life, but you thought you were going to stay cute forever.
When I was younger, I remember thinking that some of the stupidest things that I would
be turned
off about. I mean, it's so stupid now. You know what I mean?
I know, some, like, I could get turned off by a guy's laugh. Like, oh, he laughs.
Yeah,
he laughs funny.
I remember being turned off because this person was too preppy, and
oh God,
I was like, I guess I was too gangster or something back then. But and then I guess some of my friends were kind of laughing at that person as well. Laughing about the person
because they were wearing roughnecks.
Like preppy.
He probably had a job and everything,
and then was wearing like some long socks. So something just as simple as that could,
but, or even sometimes people that work, they say they work outside, and you're a young girl and you're just all into yourself. They're dark, they're dirty, they have a job, and they just see all the flaws. I know when I was
thinking, like, this is a really hardworking
person, especially when I was like in junior high. Oh my God, I wasn't going to date anybody that was in school because they weren't good enough for me. I wanted somebody older,
intellectual enough.
No, I wanted someone with a car. They
I thought
didn't
you
have.
meant when you were in college or something.
No, I was talking about like junior high.
Ah.
Even then, I remember being like, it wasn't about who was, it was about who was cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
What about the myth of King Midas?
so the myth of King Midas, he was this king, and he really this story actually reflects where we are in in our country, in the world now, what we've
Mhm.
become. So King Midas was given everything. He had riches, he had a kingdom, he had whatever wife he wanted, he had children, he had everything, but he wanted more. And we're living in a time right now where we're living more abundantly than people have ever lived. People who had kingdoms and in the distant past, they didn't live as well as we do. People 10 or 20 years ago didn't live as easy or as good as we do. We live really good. So he wanted more. So he asked he asked a genie, well, the genie asked, well, what do you want? He's like, I want more gold. Even though he had plenty of gold, he wanted more gold. So he asked that everything he touched turn into gold. And so then he made the whole, castle turn into gold. He made, everything. But then he didn't realize, which what he did is when his beautiful wife and children walked in and he hugged them, they turned into statues of gold. And when he became hungry, he tried to eat some grapes, and when he bit down on the grape, it turned into hard metal and he broke his teeth and died of starvation. But he had plenty of gold. And that's kind of like what we're living in now, that that we have all these luxuries. We have it all. Everything is so easy to us that we're kind of we're even giving up on thinking. I mean, we're just going to go ahead and let AI do it. I remember a few years back, I could put a post up and it could be a paragraph and people would still read it. But now, as people have gotten, like with TikTok and Instagram and stuff,
Their attention span.
their attention span has gotten so short that if I don't put a sentence or two sentences in a picture, no one's going to look at it. It's just not
Yeah.
going to get looked at all. And it wasn't even like that just a few years ago. I'll go back and I'll look at like my history of stuff that I used to post before, and I was able to write poetry. I was able to write a full paragraph. I was able to write a full story, and people would actually read it, but not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I mean, it is crazy.
That's like the more that we have, the more that we want. We're no different than King
It's like
Midas.
it's like if something doesn't grab our attention right away, then
Absolutely.
it's
And that's why
just
people don't like
bypass
read
it.
the Bible. I mean, they would rather, you know, I'll put a verse here and there every once in a while, and that gets looked at less than if I write something about the Bible, something more encouraging. They want to be encouraged. They
Mm.
want to feel good real quick. It's instant gratification. That's what we live in. That's all that we care about, is that instant gratification. Nobody wants to work hard to get anything anymore. If you want to be thin, you want to just, thin and trim, then you want it right there and then. You don't want to have to work for it. So people are getting, fake bodies, fake everything, um, because they're not going to take the time to work for it. People don't want to work if they could make money off TikTok or YouTube, or they're actually, instead of doing it for fun or doing it like we do it to inform and to um talk to other people, which even us, if our video is too long, it's not going to get any love,
Mhm.
because people are only, someone even wrote us a message one time, make them shorter, I can only listen for about 8 minutes
Yeah.
before my attention is going to go elsewhere. And that's sad for them. That's sad for everybody, that here we are basically handing over the world to artificial intelligence. They have control over our cars because why drive? They have, you don't have to learn. All you have to do is ask Google. Why even write up your own reports? You can get chat GBT to do it. So we're not even getting smarter. We're actually losing our ability to think. um, we're just handing over everything. I mean, even the AIs have control over nuclear weapons. I mean, so we're giving it all away. We're thinking that we want more gold, that it's going to be better, but at the end, we're just going to end up biting down on a piece of metal.
Mm. Mm. In Second Peter, chapter 2, verse 4 through 9, for God didn't spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment. If he did not spare the ancient world, but preserved Noah, a herald of righteousness, with 7 others, when he brought a flood upon the world of the ungodly, if by turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to ashes, he condemned them to extinction, making them an example of what is going to happen to the ungodly. And if he rescued righteous Lot, greatly distressed by the sensual conduct of the wicked, for as that righteous man lived among them day after day, he was tormenting his righteous soul over their lawless deeds that he saw and heard. Then the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from trials and to keep the unrighteous under the punishment until the day of judgment.
That's true. And so, like, we're living right now, there are so many principalities. It's not just like how all those stories are all one right now. We're living in the time of Noah. We're living in the time of Lot. We're living in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. We're living in all of them, all at one time. We've never been, in such darkness in ever before. So it's, when in the Bible, was it Daniel that he prays and the angel takes time to come because he said that he had to fight against the prince of Persia. And what it means by the prince of Persia is not like a prince as in like the son of a king,
Yeah.
but a
A
principality.
principality.
So it was a principality in Persia. Can you imagine how many principalities are just in America alone? We're so stuck on self. We're living in the time of Noah. We're living in the time of Elijah. We're living in the time of Lot. We're living in them all
In
at
the
the
time of
same
Noah and the time of Sodom and
time.
Gomorrah.
Yeah, all at the same time, all now. And the thing is that, if he didn't spare the angels, he didn't even spare the angels that were, that were far, far higher than us. He didn't spare, the people around Noah. He didn't spare any of these people, but yet we're living in a time where just like how nobody wants to work and nobody wants to take care of their bodies, nobody wants to be a real Christian either.
Mm.
So it's being taught that all you have to say is, I'm a Christian, and you're saved. And so again, it's lukewarmness, it's lukewarm Christianity. And it's just telling you right there, if he didn't spare it, what makes you think that we don't have to work hard to be who we are? People don't know how to fast and pray at all. People don't fast or pray. It's hard. I mean, we're learning as we go along how to fast, and it's difficult because we live in such abundance. It's like we're not allowed to be hungry. We just don't know how to be. And praying, it takes time. If you can't even read, a paragraph on Facebook having to do with God, or read a whole chapter in the Bible, but yet you believe that you're a full-blown Christian. I mean, that, just like any other job, it takes work. If that's who you are as a person, then it takes work. And nobody wants to work. They want the instant gratification of being a Christian, which is being saved. They want the blessings. They
The
want,
help during the crisis.
yeah, but no sacrifice. They don't want to be good, but they just want the good. They want everything. And it's even being taught that that's okay. And you know what? The one thing that hurt me the other day is I was on Facebook. And it was funny because they apparently knew they were going to get some lash back, which I don't lash at people. I just try to, tell them the truth. But they didn't allow any comments, this person. And they said, they need to stop preaching in churches that God loves people unconditionally. That's why everybody is the way that they are. But that right there was putting God down to me. Like he does
He does
love
love
us
unconditionally,
unconditionally.
that he gave his only
He can,
begotten
yeah.
son, that as we were still sinners, that he still went and died for us.
I mean, he sat with the sinners, but he
You
didn't
know?
sin with the sinners. He didn't get high with the sinners. He didn't get drunk with the sinners, but he did sit with them. And that's the difference is that everybody thinks that
That
they can
he
do
still
whatever
loves
that they
the
want.
sinners.
And the thing is that when we love him back, we do that by being obedient. I mean, think about our kids. That's how we know that they love us is if they respect us. When you get old, you hope that all that you put into them, when you're no longer able to do for yourself, that they will do for you. That they're not going to let you starve, that they're not going to let you live in filth, that they're not going to let you fade away, you know, because they lived their life for you, but we're so stuck on self.
Mhm.
It's all about looking good and feeling good. And if mom or dad doesn't make us feel good, well, we're not going to go over there. It's a chore.
Mhm.
They don't, I'm not going to go clean mom and dad's house. Why can't they get a provider, call. It's just sad that and yet we still believe we're all going to go to heaven.
The Lord knows how to rescue the godly from trials.
He does. And there's times where I feel fearful of where we're going. I mean, I'm tormented in my soul by how evil everything is. I try to dwell on God day and night. Besides now that I'm, kind of raising my grandbaby, and I'm doing that. Why? Not because I have to, not because her mother's incapable of doing it, but I sacrifice my time because I love them both. I love them. I love my granddaughter. I want her to become something better than what this world is. And I'm going to
Amen.
put my time and my effort into that, even though it is tiring, even though I wake up at 2 in the morning to feed her, even though, you don't want to get up and rock her all the time and sing, but I'm going to do it. Why? Because I love her. That's love. I love my daughter. And, I want her to not be overwhelmed by the baby if she's not ready. And when she is ready, we'll be here, you know? And that's how God is. It's just apparent. We're a lot of times we're never ready and we never come until we're in hell. And then we're like, why, God? Why? Well, he was always waiting. He was always waiting for you to be ready. And so I try not to fear, but it is fearful. That it's fearful that we're handing over the world to AI and that we're becoming so insignificant in who we are as people. We're giving up our spirituality. If the robots or become evil as a singularity, it's not because they were born evil, it's because they learned it from us.
Mhm.
It's not that they're bad, it's that we are.
Yeah.
And what are we using robots for? We're using them for gambling, for games. We're using them to sell. So we're teaching them money is more important than anything. Winning is more important than anything. Um, we're using atomic drones, which means that they're making decisions for us. There's not anybody controlling the drones. They're going and choosing who to kill. So we're showing them to murder, and that we're the bad guys and they're the good guys. And if you think about, as Americans, we think that we're the good guys and that Russia and China are the bad guys. But if you live in Russia, we're the evil people with LGBT trying to take over their kids. They're like, we're the devil. China thinks the same thing. It just depends on where you live to know who the bad guy is, rather than just loving humanity like how we were supposed to. We're the good guys, yet during Hiroshima, we went and put an atomic bomb. We're the only people to have ever done that in history and killed thousands, like 20,000 innocent civilians. We did that, the good guys. And we're showing our robots that we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. So if they become evil, it's because we're evil.
In 2 Peter 2, chapter 2, verse 20 through 21. For if after they have escaped the defilements of the world through the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, they are again entangled in them and overcome, the last state has become worse for them than the first. For it would have been better for them never to have known the way of righteousness than after knowing it to turn back from the holy commandment delivered to them.
Absolutely. It's like a dog returning to its vomit, or someone who was cleaned up from like you say, you went and you fell in a in a pot of poop, and you someone took you a bath and made you clean, and you just went and jumped back in. And that's what we're doing. We used to be one country under God, and we can't even just say our country. It's the whole world. Everyone knows about Jesus, and now everyone is turning away. And it would have it's the last state is way worse than the first, and it's just like King Midas. Eventually, we're gonna, because of that greed, because of that want that never goes away, we're gonna eventually bite down on that metal and starve to death. We're already doing that by handing our lives, our thinking, our who we are as beings, everything to the robot. We're giving them. Is that not a metal? They're going to end up the metal thing that we end up chewing on. We teach them every time that you're on your Facebook and you go into one of those AI um, simulators where they put your face on another body. You're telling them that you're not happy with who you are. You're telling them that that's beautiful and regular is not. We're teaching these things, these intelligent beings, that we are not happy, and we're creating them to make us happy when we're never happy. Never.
Most masters do not require much of their dogs except for two things: don't defecate in the master's house and don't bite the master's hand. As a Gentile, we were given the grace and mercy of the master's pet. All we must obey are these two rules. Yes, yet the impurities of sexual immorality has been brought inside the church, defecating all over the house of God. Media has become a mocking of the Most High in a country that was once dedicated to him. It is he that has filled our tables in the presence of our enemies. It is he that has made us the master's pet.
I mean, that's why we made our own podcast, so that we could um, fellowship with each other. Because what church do you go to that doesn't judge you? What church can you go to if you were hungry and they would feed you? They're like, you're not a member. And most churches that you even give to, when you are a member, how often do they help? You know, before before there was
Because a lot of
Democrats.
times it's a business instead
Yeah,
of what it's supposed to be for. So it's got to go through all these boards or members uh, in order to be able to do something. So it's not about just being righteous and good because this person needs it.
it's not.
Again, it's a business.
It's a business, absolutely. And so, I mean, but yet, they preach against prostitution, selling women selling their body when the church is supposed to be the body of Christ and they're selling it.
That's true.
They're making church into prostitution.
Any nation that forgets God is turned into hell. That's Psalms 9:17.
And that is true. And it's no different here. I mean, there's so much hate. Um, you know, there's just so much hate. I mean, you go to work, you're not sometimes you don't feel loved at work. You don't People don't love their parents, they don't love their children. They're in the way. They're trying to give the little babies the phone to be their babysitters because they don't want to do it. They don't have time for their own children. And yet you want AI to raise your kids when AI doesn't have emotion, and that's probably why so many children don't have emotion either.
It's true. It's easy to become a mediocre Christian by doing just a little less of what is right, expect all of God's promises, and then blame Him for our shortcomings.
It's true. I mean, how many times has God saved you or saved me from something? Um, an addiction, uh, an abusive mate. And we just go right back. And we'll be like, well, that's what God wants. No, that's what you want. We return to our vomit over and over and over and over and over. He frees us and then we just go run right back. We do it all the time, all of us. We're so worried about what we look like. It's ridiculous. We can't even age. That's like it's just sad. I mean, I try to love myself. I mean, I want to love myself no matter what. I don't want that I'm not allowed to love myself because I'm aging. I don't want that I'm not allowed to love myself because I'm not shaped abnormally with a cartoonish person with ginormous boobs and a ginormous butt with a little waist. I'm sorry, but that's not natural.
So
Why
why
can't I
are you
love
obsessed with
myself?
the thin layer of skin over bones?
Not what?
Why are you obsessed with the thin layer of skin over bones?
And that's what we are. We're a thin layer of skin over bones. And we
Mhm.
don't sit there and value the soul that's in it, the spirit that's in it, the most valuable, the most beautiful thing that is us. All we're sitting there doing is putting ourselves down constantly over what? Over skin and bones. When you're putting yourself down, you're putting God down because He is the I am. And every time you say I am, you say something negatively about yourself, you are putting him down too because he made us. So then the unnatural is more beautiful than the natural because all we care about is skin and bones. It's like even me sometimes when I go on Amazon, I can get like obsessed with just staring at stuff, looking at this and that I want. Just about like 10, 20 years ago, there wasn't that. I remember before I ever had my first iPad, my whole life revolved around taking care of my family. I cooked and cleaned and I went to college and there wasn't constant just lusting because that's what it is. It's lusting over things. And God has helped me a lot to make me realize that let's say I do dollars or 100 or $200 on them shoes. Once I get that, I'll just want something else.
Mhm.
So then people's bank accounts are empty. Their refrigerators are empty. They can't go buy food. They rather go because they're lazy, because we're too lazy to work. We want everything instantly. That we'll go spend $100 on out to eat rather than fill our refrigerators with food. So that our children can go and have food in abundance the way that we did when we were kids. But no, we're too lazy. We don't have time because we're more important.
Mhm.
What we look like is more important. I'm going to go spend $100 on my nails and feet to get done, or $200 on my eyelashes. I'm going to have Nikes on, but oh man, I'm so broke. And that's the life that we live. But we're all going to heaven.
Mm. But if any provide not for his own, and specially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. And this is 1 Timothy 5:8.
Absolutely. Wives, do for your husbands. If he hungry, go cook him something to eat. Dang. Husbands, do for your wives. If they need some coffee or they need some makeup, go get it. For you're supposed to be one body. Your children, they shouldn't have to be sitting there, Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, I'm hungry. You should know that they need to eat. Like you want God to know when you need to eat, when you need something. But yet we don't even provide for our own households, for our own parents, for our own children, for our brothers and sisters, for the church. Our country doesn't want to do for the old or the disabled. You know what somebody said on the news the other day, that old people and disabled people are nothing but useless eaters. That's such a shame. People in India, they'll come to the America and they'll become doctors, lawyers, scientists. But when their parents are at the aging level, they'll give up everything to go back home and take care of their elderly parents until they die. Because they were raised, even though they don't know anything, a lot of them are not Christians, but they were raised with more morals than we are.
Sad.
But everyone's going to heaven.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming this week, you guys. And, I hope that you can, keep the attention to stay all the way through.
Hi. Thank you. And we'll see you next time. And hi,
Amen.
Jeremiah. You just said hi. I love you, Mijon. I miss you.
Yes.
And we'll see y'all next time, guys.
Amen.
Thanks for tuning in. God bless you. And we love you.